Hello everybody, welcome to Spirit Sports. I'm your host Evan, and welcome back to DSW. This is a show where I talk about the news events and general sports action surrounding and that is relevant to Detroit sports in the last week. The teams I cover are the Detroit Tigers, the Detroit Red Wings, the Detroit Lions, the Detroit Pistons, the Michigan Panthers, and the Detroit City Football Club. Most everything about this show is done entirely by me, so if I miss something relevant or include something that you think is irrelevant or wrong, please tell me in person or in the comments or in the best way you know how. So without any further ado, let's just get into it. I think I should start by saying that whatever the title of this video is, I haven't figured it out yet. I don't have a little segment on that, so let's just start with the Red Wings. In the last week, the Red Wings are 3-0 and outscoring their opponents 10-4. After a 2-0 win over the Tampa Bay Lightning, a 5-2 comeback win over the Los Angeles Kings, and a 3-2 comeback win over the Edmonton Oilers in a shootout. In the comeback win against the Kings and the Oilers, the Red Wings were down 2-0 before scoring a goal. And now for my stars of the week. At third star, with 4 points, 1 goal, and 3 assists, Lucas Raymond. At second star for me, with a completely clean game at goalie, a shutout with 28 really impressive saves, we have Cam Talbot. He was the goalie in the shutout in the 2-0 win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. And my first star of the week, with 5 points, coming on 3 goals and 2 assists, is Marco Kasper. He had an incredible week. 2 of those goals were in the same game. And then I have 2 honorable mentions for the Red Wings, with 3 points, coming on 1 goal and 2 assists, Dylan Larkin, and 45 and 47 on saves in 1 game, Alex Lyon. For the first time since the 1995-96 season, the Red Wings have 3 20-goal scorers in the first 50 games. In 95-96, it was Kozlov, who had 26, Yzerman, who had 24, and Fedorov, who had 22. This year, it's Larkin, who has 22, DeBrickett, who has 21, and Raymond, who has 20. And a fun little fact, at 31 years old, the Michigan native right winger Dominic Shine has his chance to shine after 9 seasons in Grand Rapids, which is the Red Wings AHL affiliate, which is just minor league hockey, and he has finally made his NHL debut with the Red Wings. And then, with a record of 25, 21, and 5, the Wings are 2 games out of the final wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. I think the end of the Red Wings season is going to come down to the wire like last season. Hopefully this season they can get in the playoffs, but we will see. Now moving on to the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons are 0-3 in the last week, being outscored by their opponents 364 to 323. After a 121-113 loss to the Orlando Magic, a 110-91 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and a 133-119 loss to the Indiana Pacers. Even though it was a terrible week, there are still stars of the week, in my opinion. Third star with 36 points, Jalen Duren. Second star with 57 points, Malik Mr. Consistent Beasley. The reason I call Malik Beasley Mr. Consistent is because every game, as of late, he's going to show up in some way, mainly with points, getting 57 through 3 games, with 1 game with 18 points, 1 game with 19 points, and 1 game with 20 points. And then my first star with 89 points is Cade Cunningham, who is obviously the best player on the Pistons and arguably one of the best players in the entire league. And then honorable mention with 26 points, Asar Thompson. And then, fun little thing, Cade Cunningham is a reserve in the All-Star game. Who knows if he's going to play? He's not a starter, but he is a reserve, which does mean something somewhere. And then, with a record of 23-24, the Pistons drop back to 8th in the Eastern Conference and would be facing the 7th seed Orlando Magic in a play-in game for the playoffs. Now moving on to the Detroit Lions. there's been a lot that has happened in the last week. This is the most recent thing, but the Jets are hiring the Lions passing game coordinator Tanner Engstrand as their new offensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are still stealing from the Lions. This time it was Aaron Glenn's turn, and I don't know how good he was as a passing game coordinator, but if he's lucky, he will be a good OC. If he's not, it's just another coach who was probably very good as his job before OC, but couldn't produce at OC. But we will just have to find out as time goes on. But now to what I actually had written down. The Lions promoted their former linebacker coach, Kelvin Shepard, the defensive coordinator. He studied under Aaron Glenn, and what I mean by that is Aaron Glenn trained him and kind of personally picked him out to be the next defensive coordinator. So hopefully he should be good. And then the Lions hired the former Denver Broncos passing game coordinator John Morton as their offensive coordinator. He was the Lions' senior offensive assistant in 2022. So he worked with the Lions a few years back, took a few years off. I don't know what he did. He might have been Broncos passing game coordinator in 23-24. I don't know what he did in 23, but last year he was the Broncos passing game coordinator, and I think he did pretty good, especially later in the season as Bo Nix just kept getting better, I feel, until the wild card weekend where they were utterly destroyed by the Buffalo Bills. And then, moving on to the Lions Pro Bowl games participants. So we have safety Brian Branch, offensive tackle Taylor Decker, punter Jack Fox, running back Jahmyr Gibbs, quarterback Jared Goff, and center Frank Ragnow competing in the Pro Bowl games. And then Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown have opted out for some reason. I think they're both injury related, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Brian Branch is participating in the relay race and the flag football championship. Taylor Decker is competing in dodgeball and tug of war. Jack Fox is competing in dodgeball and punt perfect. Jahmyr Gibbs is competing in the relay race and the flag football championship. Jared Goff is competing in passing the test and the flag football championship. And then Frank Ragnow is competing in the Big Spike, the Great Football Race, and the Flag Football Championship. And then Jared Goff won passing the test. Now moving on to the Detroit Tigers. So the Tigers signed 35-year-old right-handed pitcher Tommy Conley. He's had a 10-year MLB career, and through those 10 years, he's thrown 373 and 2/3 innings over 390 games. He's had a 3.47 ERA. He has 99 holds, 8 saves, he's allowed 286 hits, 40 of those being home runs. He's allowed 144 earned runs. He's hit 11 people by pitch. He's walked 182 people. He has 452 strikeouts, and he has a .210 batting average against. To make room for Tommy Conley, the Tigers DFA'd Alex Faedo to make room. In Alex Faedo's 3 years in MLB, he pitched for 175 and 2/3 innings in 64 games. He had a 4.51 ERA, 9 holds. He gave up 160 hits, 28 of those being home runs. He allowed 88 earned runs. He hit 5 people by pitches, walked 73 batters, struck out 157 of them, and had a .241 batting average against. I think this is overall going to be a good move, especially after what Tommy Conley did for the Yankees last year. He was incredible. I didn't write it down, but I might link his page in the description if you want to check that out. And then to wrap up the Tigers part, Riley Green has been named a top 10 left fielder at the number 5 spot. Kerry Carpenter has been named a top 10 right fielder at the number 8 spot. Gleyber Torres has been named a top 10 second baseman at the number 10 spot. And then finally, Tarek Skubal has been named a top 10 starting pitcher, somehow at the number 2 spot. There is no news that I found for the Michigan Panthers, but there was some for the first time for the Detroit City Football Club. They signed Japanese midfielder Haruki Yamazaki. He looks like a decent player. I didn't really find many stats on him. I didn't really look, but I didn't find any. And then a parking deck with about 700 spaces has been planned as a part of the Detroit City Football Club's proposal for a stadium in southwestern Detroit. Okay, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was DSW on Spirit Sports. I am your host, Evan. A reminder that if I missed something relevant or included something that you found irrelevant or wrong, please notify me as fast and in the best way possible. I'm so grateful for 80. Again, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Stay blessed.